Hey, this is going to be a very odd video. This is going to be showing you kind of what not to do in making prosthetics. I'm still learning on how to make prosthetics myself, but as you can see, I'm going to be making a zombie prosthetic. It's really good to use a reference photo. Right now I'm just blocking out these shapes and flattening out what I want to be flat, and then keeping the bulk areas bulky, if that makes sense. And I'm just smoothing out the edges and using my clay tools. I got the clay tools on Amazon. Again, just refining the edges and making sure everything blends seamlessly. So now you see me doing some detail work on the skin, doing wrinkles, keeping the edges flat. Now you see me taking some more clay and I'm making kind of like a barrier around it, and that's going to help create your thin edges for when you apply it on later. It's going to help it blend into the skin and look more realistic. Blacking out the lip, blacking out the eyes and the nose. That way it has the same purpose, to create that thin flashing. I'm just making it more crisp. Again, I'm still learning, so those pros out there that are watching this, please do not chew me out. There's a lot of no-nos in this video. So, no-no number one. Building a wall is very, very challenging for me. This wall was caca. Like, this wall is, no, just don't do this. Adding plaster. First I'm going to add my detail layer, and that's going to catch all of the detail in your prosthetic, so that there's less air bubbles or no air bubbles. And I forgot to put Vaseline, so you see me putting Vaseline too. And for some reason it would not set up to be thicker, so I had to wait a little bit. Now it's thicker and I can kind of build it up without it slipping all over the place. And believe it or not, as much product as there is, this was still too thin. So now I'm demolding it, and like I said, it was too thin. I couldn't get it off. There was no flange or anything. And it breaks. Yeah, it broke in half, but the good thing is it didn't fuse with my face cast. I was able to keep my sculpt, as you can see. I decided to keep this. I just super glued it back together. I was kind of on a time schedule, so I just glued it back together and still used it. Super lucky. Now I'm using some lighter fluid to dissolve the leftover clay that's inside. And I'm just taking out the clay with my tools and making sure it's nice and clean. I'm using some Vaseline to use as my release, and I'm just doing a thin layer for when I pour my gelatin. And I'm just cleaning up my face cast. I'm going to be making another one of these in resin though, so it's going to be a lot lighter, and I'll film that later on. Now I'm pouring my gelatin, and leave the recipe down below in the description box. Letting that set up. And it was a decent mold. I was able to do my makeup looks that I wanted to do still, so that was good. There we go, struggling. And the first pour is always the pour that I look for if I need to make any corrections or anything, but I'm just cutting off the excess gelatin, and yeah, that's pretty much how I do all my prosthetics. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and you can also find out what I did last video too. Thanks so much for watching.